You are lying down now. Maybe you're warm beneath your blanket. Maybe the air is still. Maybe your eyes are growing heavy. Or maybe not just yet. That's okay. Tonight, I'll tell you a story. Not a fairy tale, but a history. A quiet one. One they often forget to teach. One that never ended in glass slippers or soft kisses. It begins not with a crown, but with a cradle. Because long before you were ever called queen, before your face was stitched into tapestries, before the poets sang your name and the priests cursed it, you were a daughter. And daughters in royal courts were not raised to dream. They were raised to breed. The truth is, if you were born royal, your fate wasn't gold and luxury. It was blood, your own, again and again. For centuries across the ancient world, in Egypt, in Spain, in China, in Ptolemaic palaces drenched in incense and poison, royal women were married off to their brothers, their uncles, their cousins. Not for love, not for choice, but for purity, for legacy, for control. And so tonight, in the dark, I'm going to place you into their shoes, sandaled, silken, or blood-soaked as they may be. You will be a princess of the pharaohs, dressed in linen, and married to a god, your brother. You will be a Habsburg bride, jaw too wide for your face, sent to marry a man you once saw in your uncle's portrait. You will be a concubine queen behind Chinese palace walls, ordered to smile as your cousin lays claim to your body, and you will be a Ptolemaic queen, walking the knife's edge between incest and rebellion, motherhood and exile. Their stories are not loud. They do not gallop in with horses and swords. They creep in like sickness, like custom, like silence. If you're still awake, let's begin. If you're already drifting, that's fine. You won't need to open your eyes to feel what they felt, because you've already been born, and your brother is waiting. You are born in the heart of the Nile's embrace, beneath ceilings painted with blue lapis stars, and walls carved with jackals, falcons, and gods who never blink. The palace smells of crushed lotus petals and incense. Outside, the sun bakes the sand into glass. Inside, you are always cold. You are not a child like others. The moment you enter the world, your birth is sung by priests and recorded on clay tablets. You are the daughter of the divine. Your father is Pharaoh, living god, lord of the two lands, embodiment of Horus. Your mother is queen, priestess, vessel. You are born sacred, and sacred things are not free. They name you Satank, daughter of life. You are wrapped in linens, soaked in frankincense, weighed down with amulets carved from turquoise and bloodstone. A nursemaid, one not permitted to speak in your presence, lifts you from the birthing room. You are placed in a chamber no man may enter, not even your father. Your brother is already there. He is 5 when you are born. His name is Jessica Ra, holy is the soul of Ra. He is being taught to walk like a god, to speak like a prophet, to rule like a lion. He is learning how to sit still while priests anoint his scalp with oil and whisper the names of stars into his ears. He is learning how to accept worship, and he watches you like something he owns. You learn to speak by whispering prayers to statues. You learn to walk in silence. You learn to hold your hands just so when servants pour wine into your mouth, because it is unclean for a princess to touch the vessel herself. You do not know hunger, you do not know pain, but you know something worse, purpose. Your body is not yours, it is an heirloom, a locked vault, a vessel to be protected, not for you, but for the blood inside you. The pharaoh's blood, the divine blood, the blood that must never mix with common clay. You are told this again and again, the blood must remain pure. The Nile runs with your family's veins. Your husband will not be far, he is already close, he is already here. You do not understand this until you are 12. That is the year your brother turns 17. He is crowned co-ruler beside your father, the old lion now bent by years and leeches. During the coronation, you are dressed in gold netting, skin polished with myrrh, eyes lined with kohl until you look more icon than girl. And as the drums thunder, they lead you to your brother. He is taller now, heavier in his robes, reeking of wine and sandalwood. He does not speak as he takes your hand before the crowd. He doesn't need to. The priests speak for him. By this union, the line is preserved. By this union, the son does not die. By this union, the gods are pleased. You do not remember the walk to the wedding chamber, only that the walls were so high you felt buried alive. He does not hurt you, not with fists, not with rage, only with entitlement, the soft cruelty of someone who believes you were born for this, that you were his before you had a name. That night, when it's done, he falls asleep beside you and snores like a hog. You lie awake, staring at the ceiling, a canopy painted with stars. The next morning, the women bathe you in milk and pomegranate rind. You are bleeding, they say nothing. Outside your chamber, the court celebrates. Crocodiles are sacrificed, dancers writhe to flutes, scribes carve your union into stone. You are now the great royal wife. You are now the sister of the king. You are now the womb of the nation, and you are 13. You wake in gold sheets that smell of old wine and cedar. Your brother is already gone. The servants won't speak to you this morning. They avert their eyes as they dress you in robes too heavy for your frame. You are 13. The high priest appears before noon with a bowl of milk, a lotus, and a flint knife. This is not breakfast. This is an offering to cleanse your womb, to sanctify your body, to prepare you for conception. You are escorted into a side chamber of the temple, not the main hall where gods roar in hieroglyphs, but a smaller place, draped in sheer fabric and thick with myrrh smoke. Inside is your brother. He is silent, seated on a low platform wearing the striped headdress of the living Horus. He does not greet you. He does not smile. This is not a marriage of joy. Lie back, the priest whispers. The gods are watching. You don't close your eyes. You don't cry. You float. It is not violence, exactly. It is ritual. Cold, slow, inevitable. There are no kisses, only hands, only pressure, only duty. The priest leaves only after it's over. He carries the bowl away with solemnity, a sacred vessel, filled now with linen and blood. You are escorted back to the palace, your legs trembling beneath jewels. The sun glares down from the sky, but you feel cold. They place you on a cushioned divan near a window, where two nurse priestesses fan your face and feed you dates soaked in honey. The blood is preserved. One of them whispers, "The gods will reward you." You don't respond. You watch the river. It moves, but it never chooses its path. Days pass, then weeks, and one morning you wake with bile in your throat, and your hands on your belly. You vomit for the first time in front of your servants. No one is shocked. Instead, there is celebration. Your pregnancy is announced before your body even swells. The palace becomes a hive of anticipation. Scribes are ordered to prepare for the birth. Amulets are carved. Midwives chant protective prayers over steaming bowls of milk. Priests throw barley into sacred pools to watch how it sinks. You are congratulated by everyone except your brother. He doesn't visit. Not once. But the whispers begin. It starts with a servant's glance at your belly, then a midwife's pause when pressing your side. Then one night you overhear two women speaking in the hall. One asks if the fetus kicks too high. The other shakes her head and murmurs something about a skull that floats like a lotus. You don't understand. Not yet. But you begin to sense it. Something is not right. Something inside you is off. You feel it late at night when the child shifts in you. The way your belly distorts, the way your skin pulls, the pain so early. The priests offer more amulets. They bind your wrists in red thread. They whisper new spells beside your ear. They hang charms over your bed, carved with the eye of Horus, the scarab, the was scepter. But they no longer look you in the eyes. In your 7th month, you are moved to a birthing chamber deep beneath the palace. The walls are smooth limestone. The torches are perfumed. The floor is covered in woven mats and palm fronds. No men are allowed in. The priestesses attend to you in shifts, feeding you stewed leeks and oils. They massage your swollen feet and whisper blessings into your ears. You carry the blood of gods. He will be king. He will be strong. You nod, but your body tells you otherwise. When the labor begins, it comes fast. Too fast. It begins with a pop, a sound inside you like something tearing. Then heat, then blood. You scream once, only once. They hush you, not out of cruelty, but because it's expected. Royal women don't cry in childbirth. They breathe in silence. They suffer for the order of the world. The pain floods you. Your legs tremble. You try to stay upright on the birthing stool. They push your hips forward. They tie your knees apart with cloth. The baby comes out not screaming, but gurgling. You are not allowed to see it. They wrap it in linen and take it to the far side of the room. The midwife holding the child freezes. Another rushes over. They whisper. You hear one of them gasp. You ask, "Is it a boy?" No one answers. You ask again. One of the priestesses walks toward you and kneels. "The child is with the gods," she says softly. That is all. You are bleeding heavily, but they focus on the child. You catch a glimpse, just a flicker, of twisted limbs, a neck too long, a face misshapen. You blink, and the body is gone. They will never write his name on the scrolls. He will not be remembered. You are not comforted. You are purified again. They bathe you in sacred oils and chant over your bruised belly. They say nothing about the birth. Only this: the line must continue. You are told you will try again. Not someday. Soon. The bleeding does not stop. Not for 1 day. Not for 3. You remain in the birthing chamber, laid on cool woven mats, wrapped in red threaded linen. You are fed broth through a carved spoon. You are too weak to stand, too numb to speak. The child is gone, but his shape lingers in your memory. The long neck, the twisted foot, the way his fingers curled like roots, not hands. No one says the word deformed. No one says cursed. No one says punishment. But they don't have to. The silence says enough. On the fourth day the high priest returns. He kneels beside you, robes brushing the floor. His skin smells of smoke and resin. He places one cold hand on your stomach and speaks softly, like one does to a broken vessel. The gods have tested your blood. They found it, wanting. You blink. He continues. There must be balance. One death now saves the line. You close your eyes. He pats your hand. Then he tells you that you must return to the palace. There is a ceremony to perform, a cleansing of your spirit, and preparations for your next conception. You are paraded through the temple in white. White linens, white flowers in your hair, white chalk on your lips. A symbol of mourning, a symbol of rebirth. Women chant as you walk, but no one meets your gaze. They look above you, through you, like you are already gone. Your brother is waiting at the altar. He does not touch you. He does not speak. He wears the crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, the flail across his chest. He looks every bit the divine king, and you beside him look like a ghost of a mother. The ritual is brief but suffocating. Oil is poured over your head. A dove's heart is crushed in your palms. You are made to drink sacred water from the Nile. The child's spirit is released. The line is preserved. You are purified. You kneel until your knees bleed through the linen. You do not cry. The crowd cheers when it ends. That night you are not allowed to sleep in your own bed. You are moved to the chamber of renewal, a place usually reserved for new brides or kings who've returned from war. The servants whisper that this is a good omen, that the gods still favor you, that your womb is not closed, only cleansed. But when you lie down you can still smell the blood. You don't sleep, you listen, to the wind, to the footsteps, to your own breath which feels louder now than ever. The next morning, a new priestess is assigned to you. She is young, barely older than you. Her name is Sefket. She says little, but she does something no one else has done. She brings you silence. She does not fill your chamber with prayers. She does not recite omens. She does not force you to smile. One night, as she oils your legs with myrrh, she finally speaks. You were not the first. You glance at her. She lowers her eyes. Queen Anoket bore 5 sons. None lived past the moon. You whisper, what happened to her? Sefket tightens the linen on your ankle. She was sent to the House of Quiet, far south, near Nubia. You ask, did she die there? Sefket doesn't answer. Later you ask your brother about Anoket. He laughs. She prayed too much, ate too little, blamed shadows for everything, not a strong queen. You stare at him. He leans in, and for the first time in months touches your cheek. But you'll do better. I know you will. Then he stands, yawns and walks out, robes trailing like smoke. The next month, your bleeding stops, your appetite returns. You are given meat again, honeyed bread, goat milk with herbs. The priests declare it is time. You are called to the Temple of Conception, a chamber filled with lotus petals, incense and carved ivory beds. It feels less like a sacred space and more like a trap. Your brother arrives. He does not wear his crown this time, only a robe. He does not smile. He does not ask if you are ready, because readiness has nothing to do with it. You lie down, again after you return to your chambers, stomach sore, mind quiet. The nursemaids bring you soup. You wave it away. You close your eyes. You dream of the child again, but this time, his face is whole, his eyes are wide, his mouth opens, and he says your name. But you don't answer. You never learned what it was. You begin to dream. It starts the second night after your second union. Not a nightmare, but something quieter, more dangerous. In your dream, the halls are empty. No servants, no priests, no guards, only women. They walk the corridors barefoot, dressed in linen robes stained with old blood and incense. Their eyes are painted black. Their mouths are sewn shut. One walks up to you and places a hand on your belly. You whisper, "Who are you?" She doesn't answer, but you know, she was queen once. She was sister once. She was you. You wake up sweating. Your sheets are soaked. Sefket is asleep by the door, head bowed. The torch is low. You sit up and stare at the wall across from your bed, the one covered in painted murals of your family line. Pharaohs in crowns, sons with golden scepters, queens kneeling beside them like shadows. All their names are carved in hieroglyphs, except for one. The space beneath a queen's image is blank. No name, no title, no inscription, just a scar in the paint. You've never noticed it before. You ask the scribes the next day, who was the unnamed queen on the western wall? They exchange glances. One shrugs. Some wives were not recorded. You press further. Why not? The head scribe bows low, because they did not bear. Later, Sefket finds you sitting by the mural, staring at the scar. She kneels beside you, and says nothing for a long time. Then, there were more than just one. You turn to her. She looks around, lowers her voice. The blood fails. Again and again. The gods are patient, but the court is not. When a queen cannot give a whole child, she is replaced. You whisper, by another sister. She nods, or a niece, or a daughter. The blood must stay pure, even if the womb must change. You are quiet. What happens to the old queen? She doesn't answer. She only glances again at the blank space on the wall. That night, you dream again. This time, there are 7 women. They do not speak. They lead you down the halls of the palace. But the walls are gone. The paintings are peeled. The gold is rust. The floors are bones. You see yourself, crowned and barefoot, walking beside your brother into a crowd that does not cheer, and behind you daughters, each with your face, each silent, each stepping into the same chamber, the same altar, the same fate. You wake sobbing. No one hears. A few days later, a storm rolls across the Nile. You stand at your window and watch the sky boil. Lightning claws at the clouds. The palace shutters groan. The storm lasts 3 days. When it clears, the priests declare the gods are cleansed, that the next child will be whole. You are not pregnant yet, but they act as if you are. They bring you ivory rattles and carved lions for the nursery. They repaint the mural wall. They add space for future names, and they do not remove the scar. You ask the high priest one morning, what if it happens again? He doesn't pretend not to understand. Then we try again. You ask what if all the children are broken? He smiles. Then we are all broken, and the gods will decide what survives. You begin to write your name on scraps of linen, and hide them in cracks of the wall. You whisper it aloud to yourself, each night, because you are afraid, not of death, not even of pain. You are afraid of being erased, of becoming like the woman on the mural, of being looked at but not seen, of bearing gods and being buried like dust. You are not a queen. You are a memory, one that fades too fast. Your brother visits again one evening. He is softer now. He brings pomegranate wine and murmurs that the court is pleased with your strength. He says you have endured like a lioness. He tells you he dreams of a son, a golden boy who will bear both your blood. You do not respond. He touches your hand. We will try again soon. The gods are ready. You look at him and do not speak, because what you want to say cannot be said. Not here, not here, not in this life. You want to scream. This blood is a curse. This line is a trap. You are not a god. You are just a boy in a crown, but you say nothing, because your mouth is not yours. The next morning, the sky is clear. The lotus blooms on the Nile. The drums begin their slow beat. The servants come. They dress you in blue. They scent your hair. They open the door. It is time. Again. You are born into silence. Not the comforting kind. Not the silence of a mother's lullaby, or the hush of sleep. This is the silence of stone, of thick velvet curtains muffling sobs, of prayers whispered behind locked doors. You are a daughter of the House of Habsburg. From the moment you take your first breath, you are watched by nuns in black. Your cradle is carved of oak, shaped like a coffin. A crucifix hangs over your head, not a toy. You are born to be married, and not just to any man. You are destined to marry your uncle. You meet him first when you are 7. He is 30. His lip juts forward like a cracked bowl. His jaw doesn't close. His eyes are watery and soft. He smells of cloves, ink, and blood. He gives you a gold coin and tells you, I will protect you forever. You curtsy. You are already practiced in obedience. Your governess whispers in your ear that the family line must stay pure, that the blood of Charles and Philip must not be diluted by foreign veins. You nod. You are a Habsburg, not a girl. By the time you are 10, the marriage is discussed openly. Your father calls it a divine arrangement. Your mother says nothing at all. She walks with a limp and rarely smiles. The priests bless the match. The astrologers nod. Your nursemaid weeps in secret. You are fitted for a wedding dress made of silver thread. It weighs more than your own body. When you try it on, you fall. No one helps you up. They say it's good luck if the bride bleeds before the altar. You are 14 when you are wed. The cathedral smells of incense and ash. Your uncle wears a robe lined with ermine. His lips tremble as he kisses your forehead. The bells ring for 3 hours. Afterward, in the bridal chamber, you are stripped by nuns. Your body is bathed, anointed with oil, and blessed, then left alone. He enters without knocking. He calls you my little dove. You close your eyes. It is slow, mechanical, confused. You feel nothing, not pain, not fear, just an emptiness so wide it echoes. The next morning, your sheets are checked for blood. They are clean. A midwife cuts her own finger and stains them before showing the court. This is tradition. 3 months later, you vomit before breakfast. You are praised like a saint. Gifts arrive from the Pope. Candles are lit in every church across Madrid. You are pregnant. The palace grows colder as your belly grows round. You cannot walk far. Your ankles swell. Your gums bleed. Your uncle visits you nightly and places his hand on your stomach. He whispers prayers to the child. He calls him Carlos, always Carlos, as if the boy already lives, as if the name ensures survival. But in the hallways, the whispers begin. Your cousin, the one born with a fused spine, only lived 2 years. Your aunt bore 3 daughters, all dead before baptism. Your great-grandmother had 6 miscarriages, 2 stillborn. You are told these stories gently, as if they are lullabies, as if they are warnings. In your 6th month, the bleeding starts. At first it's only a drop, then a streak, then a flood. They lay you on silken sheets and surround you with candles. Nuns pray, doctors mutter. Your husband kneels beside you with tears in his eyes. You must save him, he whispers. You scream, not in pain, but in rage. Because even now, it's not about you. You are a womb, not a woman. You lose the child before dawn. He is born blue and silent. The priest baptizes him with cold water, then places him in a wooden box lined with white cloth. You are not allowed to hold him. You ask to name him. They say no. He is called Carlos. As all the sons are, you are bled afterward. For cleansing, you are fed broth and wine mixed with ash. For strength, you are told to rest. For 1 month, then you will try again. Because the House of Habsburg cannot end with you. You do not cry. Instead, you learn to walk the halls at night. You memorize each step. 13 to the chapel, 20 to the crypt, 7 to the blue room. You begin writing letters in Latin, to no one, to God, to yourself. You tuck them into cracks behind tapestries. You sew them into the lining of your gowns. You begin to forget the sound of your own name, because no one uses it anymore. You are the wife. You are the mother. You are the failure. Your uncle grows cold. He stops visiting your bed. He begins to pray for a miracle. A cousin from Austria is brought in to cheer the court. She is 16 and laughs like bells. You are told to welcome her. She has his eyes. One night, you light a candle and stare into the mirror for an hour. You do not recognize the face. Your lips are cracked. Your teeth loose. Your hair thinned. You are 15. The second pregnancy comes too soon. They give you no warning, no choice. You are summoned to your husband's chamber after evening mass. A goblet of wine is waiting. The priest blesses the bed. You lie down. You close your eyes. You conceive again within the month. Your body does not rejoice. It recoils. You feel it immediately. The heaviness in your gut, the ache in your knees, the sickness that clings like a fever. The court is elated. They sing hymns. They ring bells. They dress you in blue silk and declare you Maria de la Esperanza, Mary of Hope. You smile when they ask. But inside, you whisper to the child, please don't come. By the 4th month, you cannot walk without pain. Your joints grind when you move. Your spine curves inward. You sleep sitting upright, afraid to crush what grows inside. You see things at night. A boy with hollow eyes, a girl without a face, a cradle filled with teeth. You tell the priest. He calls it a test of faith. You ask for quiet. They bring you music. The Queen Mother sends you a rosary said to belong to Saint Teresa. You clutch it so hard, your fingers bleed. In the 6th month, you begin bleeding from the nose. Your gums swell. Your heartbeat races. You are diagnosed with melancholia uterina, womb sadness. They say it is common. Holy women often suffer in the same way. You are bathed in vinegar and rose petals. You are leeched behind the ears. You are locked in your room for 3 days of silence. On the 3rd day, you scream for your mother. But she died 5 years ago. The child kicks. Too much. Then not at all. The midwives lie. They say it is strong. They say it turns in prayer. But you know what death feels like inside. It's cold and still. You lose the baby in your sleep. You wake to soaked sheets and red fingers. No one tells you if it was a boy or girl. They take it from the room in a velvet bundle and do not return. You ask to see the body. The priest says, better to remember the soul, not the flesh. You stop eating. The court physician prescribes hot milk, sweetened wine, boiled figs. You refuse. The Queen Mother comes herself. She kneels beside you and says, you must be strong. You must try again. You stare at her wrinkled hands and wonder how many daughters she buried. You begin talking to the crucifix above your bed, not in prayer, but conversation. You ask it questions. Do you love me? Did your mother bleed too? Why must I suffer for a crown I never wanted? It never answers. You are declared unwell. A diagnosis is sent to Rome. Uterine disquiet, spiritual derangement, possible possession. The cardinal visits your chamber and performs a quiet exorcism. Salt beneath the door, holy water across your chest, a prayer whispered in Latin over your womb. You smile the entire time, because you want to see if he flinches. He does. Your hair begins falling out in clumps. You start writing poetry on the walls in your own blood. They scrub it away. You write again. My name is Maria, and I am not the mother of anything. You are moved to a quiet wing of the palace. The windows are smaller, the doors heavier, the walls colder. Your husband does not visit. The only faces you see are nuns and physicians. They do not ask how you are. They ask if you are obedient. You nod, because you want to be left alone. One night, you wake to singing, not real singing, a memory, your mother's voice, a lullaby in the old tongue, the one from before marriage, before palaces, before blood. You weep for the first time in months, not for the child, not for your husband, for yourself, for the girl who believed in anything. You begin hiding things in your mattress, a rosary with missing beads, a vial of holy oil, a small blade used to cut thread. They find them. They do not punish you. They only remove your writing tools. You are no longer permitted paper. The final collapse comes quietly. You wake one morning and do not rise, not out of protest, not out of sadness, out of stillness. Your limbs are lead. Your breath is shallow. Your heart, distant. They try to stir you. They pour broth on your lips. They call your name. You don't hear it, because you no longer believe in it. The priest declares a miracle is needed. The Queen Mother sends a relic, a sliver of bone from a saint's foot. It is placed beneath your pillow. You dream of fire, of your womb as an altar, of your child burning inside you like incense. You wake up screaming, but no one is in the room. On your 16th birthday, the bells ring again, not for celebration, but mourning. You are declared barren, not in body, but in soul. The court physician writes in his report, the Queen is no longer fit for spiritual maternity. You are moved once more, this time, to a monastery in the hills. You are not given a farewell. You are placed in a carriage at dawn. A single nun escorts you. Your hands are tied, not tightly, but symbolically, as if you might still run. You don't. You watch the palace disappear behind you. The spires fade, the bells fall silent, and you feel nothing. They say you died at 24. They do not say what of, only that you were holy in your suffering, and obedient to the end. You are a queen. Barely. A teenage wife, brought from Austria to the Spanish court like a prized sculpture. Thin, pale, smiling when expected, dressed in brocade, crowned in expectation. Your husband is kind. Too kind. He stares at the floor when he speaks. He prays after dinner. He thanks you when you bear his weight in bed. He has your eyes, and your uncle's chin. The palace is colder than you expected. You are not permitted fire in your bedchamber. The tapestries are moth-eaten. The walls sweat in winter. You are told this is tradition. The last queen lived this way. Maria de la Esperanza. That name again, always whispered. You first see her portrait in a forgotten hallway near the chapel. It is cracked with age, covered in dust. She wears blue, her hands rest over her stomach. Her eyes look down and to the left, away from the viewer, as if ashamed. There is no plaque. You ask the curator who she is. He shrugs. She never bore. Unimportant. You nod, but something about the painting stays with you. That night, you dream of her. Her mouth sewn shut, her womb glowing red beneath her gown. She does not speak, but she watches you. As if waiting, you begin asking questions. Quietly, a nun who has served in the palace for 40 years tells you. There were many like her. Cousin marriages, sister unions, for the blood. You ask, what happened to them? The nun replies, if they bore sons they became saints. If not, ghosts. The library becomes your sanctuary. You read the records in secret. Royal births, deaths, lineages. You notice gaps, years with no explanation. Brides who vanish from one year to the next. You find a page torn from a marriage ledger, the corner still visible. A fragment, conjugal union, annulled by divine authority due to spiritual corruption. You ask the archivist who the woman was. He shakes his head. Lost records. Fire. Happens often. You don't believe him. You find another portrait, buried in a storage room. This one is different. It's smaller, unfinished. The face is blurred, as if the painter gave up. But you recognize the dress. You wore it on your wedding day. You confront your husband. You ask, how many queens before me? He blinks. I don't know. They don't tell me those things. You press. Do you remember Maria? He looks uncomfortable. My uncle's wife. She was strange. I think she died in a convent. You ask, why? He shrugs. She couldn't carry. That's all. No anger, no sorrow, just a statement. As if that alone justified exile. You begin dreaming of the convent. Always the same. Stone walls, flickering candles, blood on the floor. You hear whispers in Latin. You see a cradle covered in black lace. You see your own face in the mirror, and it isn't yours. One night you follow the dreams. You dress in plain wool. You leave the palace before dawn. 2 guards accompany you in silence. You do not tell your husband. The convent lies in the hills, high, isolated. The air is dry, the trees bare. A nun meets you at the gates. She smiles too widely. We have not had royal visitors in many years. You ask to see the grave. She does not hesitate. Follow me. The cemetery is small. You count 7 marked stones, all queens, all with the same surname, all died young. The 8th has no name, just a cross, and a single rose carved into the marble. You kneel. You place your hand on the stone. It is warm. Inside the convent you are shown a book, bound in worn leather, locked. The nun unlocks it with a brass key. Inside prayers, journals, scribbled notes, drawings of unborn children with twisted limbs, diagrams of wombs, names written over and over. Carlos, Carlos. You turn the page. There it is, a single phrase. He must be born of the blood, even if the blood curdles. You close the book. You leave the room without speaking. You never speak of the visit. But that night you burn your wedding dress, alone. You do not tell anyone. But the servants see the smoke and say nothing. 2 months later, you are declared pregnant. The court celebrates. 2 bells ring. The Pope sends a blessing. You smile, numb. You already know how this ends. Your belly grows, and so does your dread. The dreams return. Maria is always there. Now she speaks. You are me. You ask, can I escape? She does not answer. She only weeps. The midwives say the child is strong. You feel nothing. You begin writing names in a notebook. The forgotten queens, the erased mothers, the women who were never called by name. You draw a family tree, but it is not a tree. It is a circle, closing. You give birth during a thunderstorm. A boy. He does not cry. The physician says he needs rest. But you already know. He is dead by morning. The court holds a funeral. A public one. You are praised for your courage, your faith, your beauty. You say nothing. You do not attend.
You are in the chapel, scratching your name into the stone wall behind the altar, so someone, someday will know you were real. Your husband visits. He sits beside your bed and says softly, "We can try again." You turn your head away. He doesn't touch you. He just stands, nods, and walks out. You spend your days in the library now, reading, searching, not for escape, but for witnesses. Others who saw, others who remembered, others who bled like you did, and lived just long enough to write it down. One night, you find a letter, tucked inside a hollowed-out Bible, unmarked, unaddressed. It reads, "The womb is not a garden, it is a grave, but even graves grow flowers, if watered with truth." You copy it. You stitch it into the lining of your new dress. Years pass. You never bear another child, but you do something no queen before you did. You write your own epitaph. You hide it beneath your portrait in the hall. You sign it with your full name. And when you die, quietly in your sleep, they try to erase you too, but the stone cracks, and the ink remains.
You are 16 when they choose you. Not because you are the most beautiful. Not because you are noble. Not even because you want it. You are chosen because your hips are wide, your teeth are straight, and your bloodlines, 3 generations back, show no sign of rebellion. You don't get to decline. They tell your mother first. She weeps, not for sorrow, not for pride, for fear, because the palace doesn't return what it takes. She brushes your hair that night, like she used to when you were small. You try to hold her hand. She pulls away. You must forget me. You arrive with 40 other girls, all virgins, all quiet, all bathed in goat milk and powdered with crushed pearl. You are stripped of your old name, given a new title, Noble Lady Shu. Shu is not your family name. It means modest, a joke, whispered between the attendants. You are not allowed to laugh. The Forbidden City is vast, more than a city, a world. No men, except eunuchs, no clocks, only the drumbeats. No mirrors, except for silver-backed ones kept by senior concubines. Your reflection belongs to the emperor now. So does everything else. On the first day you're taught how to kneel, how to pour tea without looking up, how to speak without moving your lips, how to cry without making noise. Every mistake earns a mark on a bamboo tally, 3 marks, and you're dismissed. Dismissed doesn't mean home. Dismissed means gone. Each morning begins with ranking. First consort, noble consort, pure concubine, lesser concubine. You are at the bottom, so you bow deepest, even to girls your own age, especially to girls your own age. The first night the emperor visits is decided by the handkerchief test. Your bed is prepared. The eunuchs bring incense. A white cloth is laid beneath you. When he enters, you do not speak. When he leaves, the handkerchief is examined. If it is red, you are praised. If it is not, you are questioned. You pass the test. You are 17. 3 weeks later you vomit. 2 handmaidens come at once. One checks your pulse. The other lights a lamp. You are pregnant. The next morning, your name is moved up 1 rank. You receive a silk robe, a bronze mirror, a new title, Concubine Shu. Your old self vanishes. You are not allowed to speak of the child. Even to other women, pregnancies are state secrets. You eat alone, sleep alone, walk under watch. Even your body belongs to the records. In your 4th month, the kicking starts. Tiny at first, then sharp. The physicians say this is good. A strong boy, they whisper. Always a boy. Never ask if it might be a girl. On the 7th month, you feel pain. They tell you it is normal, but the pain sharpens, deepens. One morning, you wake in a pool of water. The baby is coming. It is too early. You scream only once, a single cry, then bite your lip, until it bleeds. They call the palace midwives. They arrive too late. He is born blue. The eunuchs take him immediately. You do not hold him. You do not name him. You are told nothing. But you see a servant burning a white handkerchief in the courtyard. The next day, white means death. You are demoted. Back to noble lady. Your new room is smaller. Your silk robe is taken. So is your mirror. They tell you to be grateful. You were not dismissed. You tell yourself the same. That night, another concubine visits you. She says nothing. She only sits beside you. She places something in your hand, a jade pendant, carved with the character for stillness. Then she leaves.
You never see her again. You later learn she was once pure consort May. She bore 3 children. All died. She tried once to jump into the carp pond. The guards caught her. She now serves tea in the back kitchens, still ranked above you. You bleed for weeks. The physician says it is the womb mourning. The priest says it is the ancestors reclaiming the child. You are told to pray. You are told to cleanse. You are not told to grieve. You begin walking at night, slow circles in the garden paths, avoiding the lotus pond. Sometimes you hum old songs under your breath, songs your mother used to sing. You forget the words. The emperor does not visit again, but you hear of others who were chosen. One bore twins, one lost her mind, one simply disappeared. You are told not to ask. You ask anyway. No one answers. You live like this for 5 more years. No children, no visits, no change. Then one day, a summons. You are to attend the Empress Dowager. You kneel for an hour before she speaks. She hands you a scroll. Sign it. It says you are to become a ritual mother. One of the emperor's sons, born of another woman, will be raised in your chambers. You are not his mother. You are his shadow. You raise him for 3 years. You never call him by name. He never calls you anything at all. When he is 6, he is taken to the tutor's pavilion. You do not see him again. Later you hear he died of fever. No one mentions you. You begin to think he wasn't real, just a dream, like your own son.
You are woken every night before midnight. Not by alarm, not by voice, by footsteps. Soft, measured, deliberate. The eunuchs enter your chamber with a red lacquer box. Inside, an embroidered scroll, a single name. Tonight, it is yours. You are given 5 minutes to bathe, to perfume, to dress, not in silk, in regulation robes. You are inspected head to toe. No blemishes, no odor, no complaints. You are not expected to want this, only to accept it. 2 guards escort you through the Hall of Eternal Harmony. You pass other concubines. Some smile, some weep, some walk with their eyes closed. None speak. Speaking during the ritual is forbidden. You arrive at the emperor's chambers. You kneel. He does not greet you. He lies already in bed. You are undressed by handmaidens. Every fold folded, every pin removed. You are inspected again. Then you are lowered onto the mattress like a ceremonial offering. The act is quick, not unkind, not rough, just hollow, a duty, like tending a fire, like watering a plant. You do not look at him. He does not look at you. Afterward, a eunuch brings a silver basin. You are washed, wrapped in cotton, returned to your chamber in silence. This is the night ritual. It occurs in cycles, not of passion, of policy. Each concubine is rotated based on the lunar calendar, the Empress Dowager's approval, and the whispers of court astrologers. You are summoned once every 3 weeks, others more often, some not at all. The lucky ones are not chosen. The unlucky ones conceive. Pregnancy is tracked like a military campaign. Blood samples, pulse readings, eye color, weight. Every morning, you report to the chamber of the Jade Wom. You are inspected by old women who never had children. They prod, measure, record. They never speak to you directly. You are listed only as Shu 4, your chamber designation. On your 3rd cycle, your pulse is slow. The doctor smiles. Perhaps this one will take. You do not. You begin bleeding every 17 days. The physician prescribes powdered seahorse and bear bile. The priest prescribes silence and repentance. You prescribe nothing. You simply continue. Another woman conceives. You do not know her name, but when the emperor smiles that week, you know it is her. Her food improves. Her room is cleaned twice daily. She walks like she matters. 2 months later she is gone. They say it was fever. You see the blood trail in the courtyard yourself. You start to keep count of births, of deaths, of disappearances. The numbers do not match. There are fewer women each season, but no graves. You are visited by a court historian one afternoon. She is young, dressed in blue, carries a bamboo scroll. She asks you questions. What were your family origins? How long since your last cycle? Would you describe yourself as pious? You answer. She records. She does not look at your face. At the end she thanks you. Your womb will be remembered. You almost laugh, but instead you nod. On your 7th year in the palace, your ranking increases. You are now consort Shu. No one tells you why. You suspect it is because the others are gone. That winter, the Empress Dowager calls you. You are escorted to her chamber.
It smells of camphor and dust. She holds your hand. Her skin is like paper. She says softly, "The Emperor dreams of a son." You nod. "I will try." She leans in. "No, this time you must succeed." You are summoned 4 nights in a row. Each time the same ritual. Each time the same hollowness. By the 5th night, your legs shake. By the 6th you stop feeling the cold. The doctor visits. You are pale, fainting, bleeding from the gums. He smiles. It is a good sign. You whisper, "What if it isn't?" He replies, "Then it is your fault." Your hair falls out in clumps. Your teeth ache. You vomit at dawn. Then again at dusk. You are told to remain indoors. No incense, no visitors, no mirrors. The fetus must not be frightened. On the 4th month, you stop bleeding. On the 5th, you stop dreaming. On the 6th, you stop hoping. Then nothing. One morning, there is no kick, no flutter, no weight. You are taken to the jade chamber, laid on a slab. They inject a bitter-smelling herb into your thigh. You wake to blood everywhere. You are cleaned before you see it. You ask the physician, "Was it a boy?" He looks away. "It was malformed." You nod. You are demoted. Again. The birth is silent. You do not scream. You do not breathe deeply. You do not pray. By now you know better. They say the baby is alive. You hear no cry. They say he is male. You are not allowed to see. The child is taken from you within minutes, wrapped in white, carried by eunuchs to the chamber of the Golden Seal, where all imperial offspring are registered, evaluated, and catalogued. You are left alone in blood and sweat. The midwife cleans you without speaking. Your hands tremble. You ask, "Did he open his eyes?" She doesn't answer. You are moved to a postnatal recovery room. It is small, warm, lined in silk. Too soft for comfort. A girl brings broth. You ask where your son is. She says, "That depends." Hours pass. Then a man arrives. Thin, expressionless, robed in yellow. He is a fortune assessor. He carries a book of celestial charts. He asks for your son's birth time, breath, strength, pulse pattern. You answer. He nods. Inauspicious. That is the last time you hear the word son. The next morning, your chamber is cleaned. Your bed remade. The nurse dismissed. No ceremony. No record. No name. You are permitted 1 item from the event. A swatch of cloth from the baby's blanket. You fold it into a square. Tuck it beneath your sleeve. You do not cry. Not because you are strong, because crying has no place to go. Later that year you see a boy in the garden. Small, pale, with eyes like yours. You step forward. Your mouth opens. A eunuch blocks your path. That is not your child. You are escorted away. You never see him again. You meet others like you. Older concubines who speak only in riddles. One shows you a doll she made from rice husks and silk scraps. She says it cries at night. You believe her. At night, you visit the women's shrine, the place where the forgotten go to pray. You light incense, bow 3 times, then you whisper into the floorboards. If you are real, if you are alive, I am sorry. One winter, you're summoned to tend a sick child. He is 3, coughing blood. You sing to him, hold him, braid his hair. He dies before the snow melts. You find no name in the records. He was called Boy 8. You stitch his death date into your sleeve lining. Beside the cloth from your own child, you are promoted again. Back to consort. They say it's an honor, but you know what it means. Another cycle is beginning. You go through the motions, the bath, the handkerchief, the inspections, but something has changed. You are empty in a way no physician can measure. They say your womb is healthy, but the child, if there is one, never comes. Years pass. You do not age so much as blur. Your name becomes less spoken. Your summons become rare. You are called the Quiet One. They do not mean it kindly. One spring, a fire breaks out in the archives. The nursery ledgers are lost. Dozens of children vanish from the record books. Some cheer. You mourn, because they deserved at least a name, even the ones who only lived an hour. Before long, you are moved to the retired pavilion. A euphemism. It means forgotten, but fed. You are allowed to tend plants, read Buddhist texts, paint. You paint portraits of children you do not know. Boys with no eyes, girls with no mouths. You name them yourself. Soft, quiet names, never said aloud. At night you sleep without dreams, but sometimes you think you hear footsteps, tiny ones, following you through the courtyard, pausing outside your door. You never open it. Because if you did, and no one was there, your heart might stop. You die at 61, peacefully they say, though you were alone. Your final meal is listed as plain broth. Your final words are not recorded, because there was no one to hear them. You were buried with the other retired women. No headstone, no marker, no visitors, but inside your sleeve they find the cloth scrap, the stitched date, the name you whispered only once, years ago under your breath. The monk who performs the rites sees it, and smiles. She remembered. He burns a single stick of incense, and bows a fourth time, just in case. You are born under the gaze of gods. Your name is whispered in temple corridors before your first breath. Your father is Pharaoh. Your mother is also Pharaoh, and also his sister. You are not a daughter. You are a vessel, for Isis, for the line, for the empire. You are told this before you bleed, before you speak. You are not allowed to choose your future, because it's already been performed thousands of years before you, by Isis and Osiris, by your grandmother and her brother, by your mother and hers, and soon, by you. At 6, you are taught to walk like a goddess. 1 step, breath. 1 step, breath. Never swing your arms, never slouch, never blink when the priests chant your name. At 8, you are taught to lie, to say, "My brother is beautiful. I am honored to be chosen. I feel no fear." At 12, you bleed for the first time. A feast is thrown, not because you are a woman, because you are now breedable. At 13, you are engaged to your brother. He is 16, polite, cruel. He likes to watch animals die. Once, you find a drowned cat in his room. He smiles when you ask about it. It was bad luck. I punished it. On your wedding day, the city cheers. Gold is thrown in the streets. Bread is given to the poor. A statue is unveiled. You and your brother, carved as Isis and Osiris, locked in stone embrace. You are not asked how you feel. The ceremony is long. Chants in 3 languages. Wine, smoke, oil on your skin, until you shine like glass. You are dressed in linen, so sheer you feel naked, because goddesses are not ashamed. The bedchamber is watched, not literally, but you know the servants listen. You know the priests will check the sheets. You know your body is now a matter of state. Your brother does not hurt you, but he does not see you either. He calls you sister wife, only ever that, like a title, not a person. You do not cry, because queens do not cry, because if you begin, you might never stop. The first month, nothing happens. The second, still nothing. The third, your brother accuses you of withholding. You are taken to the temple of Hathor, examined, anointed, purified. The priestess whispers, "It is the god's timing," but the physicians say, "Her womb is cold." You are given herbs, told not to bathe in the Nile, told not to think of your mother. She died during childbirth. With a smile on her lips, they say, you remember screaming. You finally conceive at 14. You are paraded through the city, your belly painted with sacred oils. You are not allowed to walk on common ground. You ride in a litter. Even your footsteps must be divine. The child is born in the temple of Isis. Midwives in gold masks. Incense so thick you can't breathe. Pain so sharp it feels holy. You deliver a boy. He lives, but does not cry. You are told to smile, even though your legs are shaking, even though your brother doesn't touch the child, even though the nurse makes the sign against evil when she looks at him. You name him Harper, but the court refuses. He is given the title, Ptolemy, like his father, and his father before him, and the 36 men whose portraits you've memorized since you could speak. Harper's taken to the nursery. You are allowed to see him once a day, 10 minutes, supervised. He doesn't meet your eyes, doesn't respond to your voice. Sometimes he laughs at nothing, other times he screams when touched. You ask the physician. He frowns. He is delicate. You ask your brother if he notices. He shrugs. The gods make what they want. You ask, what if the gods made a mistake? He looks at you, long. Then you are the mistake. Whispers begin, about your blood, your fertility, your mind. Some say the child is cursed. Some say you are. You begin seeing your mother in dreams. She is holding a bundle of cloth. She opens it. It is empty. She weeps without tears. You ask the high priestess what it means. She replies, All royal women dream of their mothers. Then she touches your forehead, and all royal women die like them too. One day, Harper's gone. You ask where. No one answers. The physician says he was moved to a countryside villa. The wet nurse says he never left. The guard says he was never real. You stop asking. You start praying to gods no longer worshipped, to deities erased by time, to forgotten mother spirits with no altars. You whisper their names behind closed doors. One night, you write them on your body in ink. Nephthys, Tawirat, Renanert. You sleep that night without dreams. The next day, you bleed again, and you are summoned. The court says it's time for another child, because the first didn't count, because the line must continue, because your brother is ready, because Isis did it, because you are divine.
You do not want another child, but you are given no choice. The temple declares it a divine imperative. Your brother is eager. The priesthood is eager. The people are eager. You are not. You do everything they say. You wear the oils, chant the hymns, drink the blessed milk, sleep beneath statues of fertility goddesses, and you conceive. Again, this time, you do not celebrate. You keep your expression neutral. You eat little. You say only what is required. They call it humility. You call it survival. When the child kicks, you feel dread. When he turns, you pray for silence. When he is born, you do not smile. But this child is different. He cries, loud, constant, furious. He grips your finger with his whole hand. He opens his eyes, and they are not your brother's. They are yours. You call him Harpy, in your mind. You do not speak the name aloud, not even when you are alone. They give him to you for 3 weeks, longer than last time. He grows fast, eats greedily, sleeps curled beside your chest. You sing to him, old hymns and forbidden lullabies, your mother whispered behind drawn curtains. On the 22nd day, your brother visits. He holds the baby awkwardly, stares into his face. He looks nothing like me. You hold your breath. But he is healthy, you reply, and strong. He nods. We'll have the priests decide what to call him. You do not correct him. You do not say, he already has a name. Later that night, you run, not far, just into the back corridors of the nursery, where no guards walk, where no priestesses roam. You find a hidden door your mother once showed you. Inside, an old chamber, filled with broken statues and mold. You clean it, lay down a blanket, bring in water, hide dried dates beneath floor stones. You begin moving Harpy there during the day, just an hour, then 2. He laughs louder in the dark, kicks stronger, sleeps better. You begin to think, maybe I can raise him myself. Maybe he doesn't need to be named Bartholomew. Maybe he doesn't need to be married to a cousin. Maybe, but you know better. On the 34th day, a messenger arrives. The high priest has summoned the child. You ask why. He says, for evaluation. That night you do not sleep. You pack a basket, bread, honey, a carved charm of Tawarat. You dress in linen, not silk, hide your face with a veil, and you take him. No one stops you, not the guards, not the servants, not even the gods. You ride through the back alleys of Alexandria, on donkey back, wrapped in silence. You reach the harbor at dawn. A merchant awaits. You do not ask his name. He does not ask yours. You give him everything. Gold rings, earrings, your signet. He takes the child. What should I call him? You hesitate. Then whisper, call him whatever you want. Just don't call him a god. You watch the boat disappear over the horizon. You do not cry. You do not speak. You simply wait until the sun rises fully. Then you return to the palace. You lie. You say the child died. A fever. Sudden. No time for prayers. The priest frowns. Your brother fumes. But no one questions. They've seen too many dead children. You are placed in mourning. You wear black. You burn incense. You chant the names of the dead. But inside, you chant one name only. Harpy. You do not see him again. But once, years later, a sailor arrives from Cyprus. He brings spices, and a charm. A worn carving of Tawarat, painted blue. He says it was given to him by a boy, with strange eyes, who spoke 3 languages, and claimed to have once been a prince. You pay him double for the charm. You sleep with it under your pillow. Time passes. Your brother takes another wife.
She gives him sons. You are allowed to retire. You spend your days teaching scrollwork to palace girls, telling stories of old queens, always with a smile, never the full truth. You die at 45, too early they say, but you welcome it. Your final thoughts are of Harpy, not as a prince, not as a god, just as a boy, alive, free, named. You do not know their names. Not really. Not the girl who bled for a god and bore a curse. Not the concubine who stitched her son's name into her sleeve. Not the sister wife who sent her child away so he could live as a person. Not a deity. History did not keep their faces. It kept their brothers, their husbands, their kings, their gods. But them? They were filed away under other names. Royal wife, consort of the second rank, bearer of a malformed son, queen who failed to conceive, and yet they ruled. Not with crowns, but with silence. Not with armies, but with the stubborn refusal to die completely. They survived empires by bending, never breaking, until they were no longer women, but walls, foundation stones, forgotten prayers. You were never supposed to remember them. You were supposed to believe Isis loved Osiris. That palace women were pampered. That concubines were lucky. That queens lived in gold and marble. But look deeper, beneath the murals, behind the temple veils, inside the chambers locked to history, you will find them. Not dead, not erased, but whispering. They are the mothers who never got to name their sons, the sisters who had no choice but to marry their brothers, the wives who wore red, not for love, but because blood was the only color honest enough to clothe them. They did not write books, but they are written into everything, in every statue defaced, every scroll miscopied, every grave unmarked. And maybe that is why you're still awake now. Maybe some part of you, the part that remembers pain passed through generations, is listening. So if you hear something soft, something old, something heavy like a sigh in the walls, you're not imagining it. That's them, telling you, we lived, we loved, we lost, but we were never gods, only women. And you heard them. That is enough. Sleep now.